Good morning, Ray Armstrong. We're coming to you this morning from the Extension Office in Boulder County Orchard. We're going to be talking about the tall spindle, totally new system, revolutionary from what we've been accustomed to. I think the idea originated with the large growers that like to have be able to spray over the straddle of the row, spray inside the cab so that the chemical doesn't spray out and get on other property. As you can see, we got 10-foot stakes to tie the trees up to. We wanted the leader to get up 10 feet by the second year. We tie the limbs down, as you can see. Tying the limbs down keeps the limbs from growing very big and also makes them start producing early. This is just the second year for this. As you can see, we already have apples growing on the trees.
So with the tall spindles, you said you have to weigh the branches down. How often do you have to weigh them?
The first year we want to tie them down the first year, and that'll make them bear by the second year. As you can see, these have been tied down, already got apples on them. Now these have grown, these kind here have grown since we tied it down, so we need to be in here tying these down now, but we just don't have the help. I don't know what we'll have to wind up doing to get them tied down.
And what do you tie them down with?
Well, sometimes we use string, sometimes we use wire. Wire makes a real nice way of doing it. Let's take a piece of wire.
Wire?
Yeah, just take a hook on either end of the wire, depending on the limb. This one's already tied down, but we'll demonstrate with this one.
Okay. I was under the impression they had to be weighted down, like you tied strings and rocks to them or something.
No, you could, I guess.
So you just pull them back toward the trunk.
That's the idea. We haven't been able to work these. We should have been in here tying these down already, but we haven't done it. But as you can see, most of them are tied down. These have all grown this year since we tied them down last spring.
And how old are all these trees?
We set these in the spring of 18, I guess it was. Spring of 18.
So a little over 2 years?
Fall of 18. Yeah, this is the second year for it. We
Very
had fruit
nice.
the second year.
And
Now,
when do you normally get fruit on like the standard trees like on our left?
Well, a standard tree means a full-size tree, which should be probably anywhere from 6 to 10 years.
Oh wow, that's a big difference.
Now with the dwarf trees, 3-4 years. You take good care of them, have good soil, get good growth from them. You can get fruits the second, third year occasionally, but with this, the interesting thing about the tall spindle, when these limbs here get up the size of your thumb, we cut them off, leaving a short stub so that they'll put out another limb. So when they do this, it keeps your tree from getting wide, and then you can get sunlight all the way through both sides of the tree, which gives you better color on the apple. This is the second year for this, but another year these bottom limbs will be ready to be cut off. And the book says to just take off 2 each year, so next year we'll probably take 2 off of each one of these bottom ones, and then next year we'll come on up and take off 2 more on them, and by that time these down here that we've cut off put out new limbs, and they'll start bearing. So you're continually redoing the tree. Makes it work much better. And I think I said that one of the advantages of this is it lets you got more light shining through your tree, so you get better quality, better color on your fruit.
So I'm noticing you have some wire cages on the bottoms of the trunks.
Okay, that's for rabbit damage. When you first set an apple tree, the rabbits love to come in the wintertime and eat the bark off. Most time they'll eat it all the way around. That kills your tree. So put the bar around. That keeps the rabbits from eating the bark off your tree. That's very important when you set out a young fruit tree. As you can see, we have a water system, drip irrigation we call it, which is very important to a young fruit tree. We last year watered it several times, and they grew so well. We were so pleased with it. It worked really well, and that's a big reason why the trees have grown so well. You don't usually see second-year trees this tall, so we've been real pleased with the water system, drip irrigation.
Now, are the tall spindles, are they a dwarf variety?
Yes, that's another important thing. The more dwarf the tree is, the more likely it is to bear early. So you want a dwarf tree for a spindle, tall spindle. Of course, it's caused by the root system put them on. There's several different dwarf roots. These are, I think, G11, G41, and maybe a G65 or two. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the sheet, but generally it's G11, G41. G stands for Geneva, New York, and the number is just a number that was assigned when the root was developed. The G series is relatively new, and a lot of research gone into it at Cornell University in New York. They developed the G series, we call it, and they have several different root stocks on the market now. G41 is desirable, G11 is desirable, 65 is smaller, but we have several of those. The G series has many different root stocks, but we've only used about 3 of them.
And what makes them desirable?
Okay, the G41 is very resistant to what we call replant disease. When you take out an old orchard and put new trees in, many times they develop a disease called replant disease. G41 is very resistant to that, so they're very desirable to use. A lot of characteristics of the different root stocks. Something I came up with a few years ago. It works very well for us. Just put the name of the cultivar or the variety first, and we put the root stocks, and then the date. In this case, this is John of Gold. It's on the G11 rootstock, and it was done 9/8/17. So that tree has grown. This is the 3rd year for it.
And what is that tag made of?
Coke cans, pop cans. I have a shoe sole, a ballpoint pen right on it, and does pretty good. It kind of gets clouded over. You have to rub it off, clean it up a little bit so you can see it. But I spent about 3 hours one night trying to figure out how to do this. And after you figure it out, it's very simple. But all you do is cut the top of the Coke can and split it, and then cut the bottom off and open it up, and then just cut it in strips. Then you take the end of the strip and a little tab like that. You don't want to bend it 180 degrees. You want to make 290 if you can see that. If you make on the 180, it weakens the aluminum and makes it break easy. So you do 290s. Do this the same way, bend it over like this. And simply take this in, slip it in there. Works very well for us.
And it's adjustable, and then your writing doesn't fade because it's engraved into the metal.
And as the tree grows, this loosens up, we'll cut into your tree. Now occasionally this will get hung in the fork between against the limb or something and hang up, and then it cuts into your tree, but it'll just pop open, break this off here. It won't do any harm to your tree.
Very smart.
I had this published in a national magazine a few years ago.
Really?
Showed how to do it.
You're so clever, Ray.
Not really. What does she say? Necessity is invention. Is the mother of invention, is that what they say?
Mm-hmm. And what variety was that one?
This is John of Gold. John of Gold's a good apple. I believe right now it's the most planted apple in England.
How many varieties of apple trees do we have here in the orchard?
Okay, we had 5 different varieties, so we put this out. And now we have in this tall spindle row, we have about 10 different apples. See, we have Zestar, we have John of Gold, we have Gala, we have Jumbo, we have Gravenstein, we have Wine Crisp, and Evercrisp. There's one more, I can't think of what it is. I think we got, what did I say, 10? 8 or 10. I could look them up, but I think there's somewhere 8 or 10, I don't remember exactly.
Don't we have an apple tree that no one else has?
Yeah. That one right there is it was a seedling, and it was a good apple, so I propagated. We call that sunray. I belong to an organization called Midwest Apple Improvement Association, and this was one of them. We have Ohio State University. They plant the seed and grow it 1 year, and then they send it out to the members, however many you want. I got 80 trees a few years ago, and that was the best one in the lot. And it turned out to be a pretty good apple. We were at a meeting several years ago. A fellow from France runs a big nursery in France, and he tasted the apple and said that's the kind they wanted. So we told him if he wanted to join, we'd send him some wood. He said how much is it, and we told him it would be $1,000. We'd been in 10 years. We paid $100 a year for membership. So he said that's no problem. He wrote a $1,000 check. We sent him some wood. Got a letter back from him a year or so later, and he said it almost made it, but it didn't quite meet all the requirements. So it didn't get propagated in France. So he told us. But it comes in first place in some of our taste tests at the tasting parties we have.
And what is this material that's over the trees?
That's a netting that we put on to keep the birds from getting them. A little bit we can go up there and see how much damage the birds have done, but that pretty much keeps the birds.
And if anyone would like to learn how to graft or to work in the orchard with Ray, we could always use assistance, so come visit us at the Bullitt County Extension Office at 384 Halls Lane in Shepherdsville.